Hi everyone, I'm David Griffin.
Now Michael Medina.
And we're here to bring you our video game of the year. 2013 video game. It's a little too early to 2014.
In February of 2014, but better late than never.
Better late than never. We're going to do our video game of the year. Mike and I, a few months ago, did a video game of the year so far.
Yeah.
And some people got on us about saying, like, well, Batman's not out, you know.
Where's
GTA,
Grand Theft Auto 5?
Where's Grand Theft Auto 5 wasn't out yet. So, of course, we were just speculating about what could be. I still think at the end of the year, the weird thing is, at that point, I gotta stop there. Mike and I didn't play any arcade games.
Yeah,
Neither of us had
true.
yet to play, and I mean arcade, I mean not AAA, not Call of Duty, not Batman, not Grand Theft Auto. I mean
the smaller stuff.
The smaller stuff. So I think when we started getting into it, it kind of took us by surprise.
Yeah,
you know,
some good high quality games.
Yeah, some good games.
That were simple but yet very intuitive.
Right. So instead of starting with some of our games, let's start with maybe GTA 5, since that's the big one that everybody was talking about. And personally, for me, GTA 5 is good and is big and brilliant and just perfectly executed. No lag, no loading screens. Kind of forgot about it after I played it. I beat it and then kind of left it alone. Like, what was your thoughts on Grand Theft Auto 5?
I agree. That's one of the problems I've always had with Grand Theft Auto. First of all, I love Grand Theft Auto. I played every single one. I played Grand Theft Auto 5, loved it. The thing with Grand Theft Auto as a series as a whole, it does get a little repetitive after a while because it really is essentially the same thing. It's almost like a been there, done that.
Right.
You know, like, kill some prostitutes, you rob some banks, you steal some cars,
Drive a
you know what I
helicopter,
mean?
Yeah.
Now, granted, this particular game definitely upped the ante a lot. I mean, the world itself is huge. It was a solid story.
Great
three characters,
great
voice acting.
Yeah,
It was an amazing game, but at the end, it's like once I was done with the main story, I found myself only going back maybe a handful of times to play a little online and a little like some of the stuff I missed during the single player campaign. But then I was like, all right, kind of ready to play something else, and I haven't gone back since.
Yeah, and it's hard to fault it because it did exactly what we thought it was going to do, and I am faulting it on that, which is bad because it's such a well executed game and it's put together so well. Great. Oh yeah, outdid Call of Duty I think this year. Just made so much money, and I mean But it's like, it felt like, it did what I expected it to do.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. And I guess we have to leave it at that. But again, excellent game. Glad we got to play it. Great game. One of my other favorite games this year, I know you and I both had a chance to play, was Batman Arkham Origins. Another game that when we did our previous review, we couldn't talk about it yet. It wasn't out yet. Now it is. Good game, but maybe kind of like GTA, did what you expected it to do?
Yeah, exactly. I think for me personally, Arkham City was so great and so close in my eyes to perfection that when I played this, it was more the same. It definitely didn't up the ante the way like Arkham City did compared to Arkham Asylum. And that's not a bad thing. Definitely, it's not. It was good. There's nothing wrong with it. Just like the story itself takes place obviously in the early days of Bruce's career as Batman and stuff, and that was cool to see that. I just think maybe the story could have been told a little bit better. I think it just kind of like throws you into like, all right, he's Batman. I would have liked some kind of, we all know his backstory, but I would have liked some kind of introduction to why this is happening.
Again, another, like GTA, again, we're kind of talking about our runners-up here, kind of games that we really enjoyed, but we're going to get to our game of the year at the end, and I think it's one of those games that did exactly what we thought it was going to do, like GTA, and
it looked pretty.
It looked great. Probably the smoothest fighting mechanics of all three, but again, it didn't deliver anything new.
Yeah, it really did feel like more the same because you would revisit the same environments that you saw in Arkham City. Just covered in snow.
Right. Yeah. I mean, great voice acting again. Troy Baker is on a roll. And
his Joker is pretty good. You know how I feel about Mark Hamill's Joker.
He does a good Mark Hamill impression almost. Yeah.
Which is good. I had no problem with it.
If you're gonna steal, then steal from the best. I think Troy Baker, obviously with Last of Us and BioShock Infinite, he's just the man. So. Moving on, let's talk about a game that you and I were split on. This was almost my game of the year, very close, but no, it just didn't quite cut it. BioShock Infinite. This is a game that's caused a lot of controversy. The ending, which we won't spoil here, as is, people have been talking about it for a long time. Like, what does it mean? Cool ending. But like, what were your thoughts on BioShock Infinite?
Well, okay, to be fair, I've only played half of BioShock 1. I never played BioShock 2, but I did play Infinite. Definitely, hands down, one of the prettiest games I've ever seen. No doubt about it. I felt that from a story perspective, it was a little dull at times. For whatever reason, and this is the problem I had with BioShock 1, I don't like the way they tell a story. I'll give you an example. Halo, for example, tells an amazing story. They do a great job of making you, immersing you in this world.
Right.
You know, and I felt like at times BioShock Infinite was very repetitive.
Right.
You know, I felt no desire to continue. Like, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why is this happening?
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, the ending was kind of made up for all that because I thought it was really interesting. I would have appreciated it a lot more had I played the previous two. Right. You know, but it was a cool ending.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But overall, it was not memorable. I played it once and I had no desire to play it again.
Right. Yeah. Now for me, it was like opposite. This game to me kind of just blew my mind, just all over the place. I just loved it. I loved the first one. The second one, more of the same. Didn't really do anything new, but still enjoyable. But BioShock Infinite to me was just probably just one of my favorite games I've ever played. It was one of my most enjoyable experiences. I played it like 3 times, and I just love the story. It's just out there. It's like, I don't want to spoil anything because if you haven't played it, I can't talk about too much of it. But the world, you know, the city in the sky as opposed to being.
It's a huge world.
It's a huge world.
Very pretty to look at.
It's so well imagined. It's just something you've just never really seen. Like when you first kind of push those doors open like that, you just see the city. It's just, oh, it's incredible. And they talk about like racism and like feminist movements and national pride issues, like all this stuff, separation, secession from like the United States, all this cool stuff. Mixed with some really weird time things, so I won't spoil any of that. But another one, that was one of my favorite games. Almost got my game of the year. Let's talk about some ladies. One lady in particular who I would never used to be interested in, who I just thought had, excuse my language, but had big boobs and some small shorts, and that's about the extent of what she was. Let's talk about Lara. Or
Lara.
However
you want to pronounce
Lara
it.
Croft, Tomb Raider, the reinvention of Tomb Raider by Square Enix this year. I mean, that game, pretty incredible.
No, absolutely. And I felt, maybe not as strongly as you did about Lara Croft, but definitely her games were always, the control mechanics were a little weird to me.
Right.
I wanted to love this game back like in her heyday.
Yep.
I just couldn't get into it. Decided to give this game a try and was blown away at how much I loved it. You know, multiplayer really left a lot to be desired. I think I played it like once and I was like, whatever. I played through the single story, I don't even know, like 5, 6 times already. It's that good, you know. And I hate comparing games to other games because I mean, it's like apples and oranges. It's not fair to do, but like Uncharted.
Yeah.
That's the first game that came to mind, and it's like I love Uncharted. So definitely I tried to see, like, just compare like certain elements, like what I loved about Uncharted and what I loved about Tomb Raider, and I thought they were pretty close. I like the way they told the story, maybe not as strongly as like Naughty Dog tells their stories, but I thought it was good. It was believable.
Yeah.
You know, this struggle that she's this young girl kind of becoming the Lara Croft that we all know and love, but
I think that's the thing. One thing with Tomb Raider is a little different from Uncharted. Uncharted has a little bit better of a supporting cast. You kind of care about the characters. I mean, Lara had her group of guys, but you just didn't really care about them that much. As opposed to Uncharted, like all the characters are really, really interesting.
It's an ensemble cast in Uncharted, and it really is. Tomb Raider's just about her.
And Tomb Raider's graphics just gorgeous. Great looking game. Again, there's so many good looking games this year, and just exciting, good adventure story. Of course, the Indiana Jones thing, the Uncharted thing. But it was good, and it wasn't just a girl with, I mean, she's pretty, but like she's a survivor, and we see that she's a survivor first, before we see the short shorts and Angelina Jolie and the sunglasses and all that. So anyway, let's go now. I guess let's get to the Game of the Years. Now, Mike and I both played our Game of the Years. We have different Game of the Years, but we both played each other's games. So, Mike, I'm going to give the floor to you first. Let's start off talking about your Game of the Year, which is...
The Last of Us.
Who?
What?
I never played that.
It's a small little game. Maybe you heard
it.
Yeah. Hands down, my Game of the Year. This game was damn near perfection to me. I mean, I don't even know where to begin with a game like this. The way the story was presented. I mean, it's a story that we've all heard. They're zombie. It's not really zombies, but it kind of is. It's like The Walking Dead, a really good version of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
So we've all heard these zombie stories, but I thought they did such an amazing job and a believable job of telling this story.
Right.
Again with Naughty Dog, they just have a knack for great storytelling, amazing voice acting, graphics were gorgeous. Definitely some of the best graphics you're going to see on the PS3. One of my favorite moments in this game, and one of the reasons why I love this game so much, is a moment that comes later on in this, and you're going to see it involves, Ellie and Joel. An animal.
Yeah.
Well, an animal. There's a certain scene that was very
touching,
and I thought was it's one of those moments that kind of, you kind of step out of this world and you remember just like what the world was and what it is about, just humanity as a whole and stuff. And I thought that was really a touching. I want to talk about it so badly.
I know, you don't want to spoil it.
But it was such a great scene. It was one of those games that you can't it has stealth elements, some action
elements,
survival horror. It's a little bit of everything. It's a melting pot of all these different genres and stuff. But they did it so well. And it was one of those things that was so memorable. Definitely one of the best experiences I've had playing video games. And definitely one of those things, like one of those games where as soon as I finished it, I ran to play it again. I could not wait to play it again.
And I think you, myself, and Dennis have all kind of been talking about how Sony, towards the end of this console generation, now we're getting into the Xbox One and PS4 and all this, and Steam boxes and all that kind of stuff. PS4 got it with their, what's the word? With their not standalone, but exclusives.
Oh yeah.
With their exclusive IPs, they got it, I think, a little bit better than Xbox.
Yeah.
Towards the end. Yeah. I mean, with The Last of Us, Uncharted, 3, everything just kept getting better and better. I mean, Xbox has great titles. We love Halo, but we've seen how many times can Master Chief save the day? We've seen that. But I mean, Last of Us, all these really original titles.
I'm sorry, God of War.
God of War.
Even though the Ascension was a solid game, but,
And then, I mean, even, Mike and I, to mention another game, just to kind of mix into our Game of the Year talk, is Beyond Two Souls.
Yes.
Was a very interesting, crazy game. Willem Dafoe, and I mean, all this.
That was actually kind of like a runner-up for me. I thought it was definitely an interesting game. I didn't know what to expect with this game. I mean, I'd played Heavy Rain.
Right.
So I assumed it'd be similar. And it was kind of, but better in terms of just like the gameplay mechanics and stuff.
Yeah, and just the facial expressions and the acting. So what I'm trying to get at here is just the PS3 is Sony just kind of got it at the end. They got their IPs, their small game, or I should say exclusive, not small games, exclusive games better. And I can't wait to see a sequel. We got some DLC coming out for Last of Us on Valentine's Day. On Valentine's Day, got some of that coming out. It's a side story with Ellie. Comic books, I believe Dark Horse Comics has a comic book series on. So I mean, all this great stuff with the game is coming out now. DLC. We got DLC coming out. You have on Valentine's Day for The Last of Us. Got DLC. Got Ellie's side story. Dark Horse Comics has the series going out right now. If you want to get some more backstory on Ellie and her friend, I mean, just so much good stuff with The Last of Us coming out. Great game. Sony's hitting it. They're doing a great job right now. Next gen systems doing a great job. So we'll see with Sony. But into my Game of the Year now. I talk about The Last of Us, which Mike played too. This is Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. And after I played this game, I said, Mike, you got to play Brothers. You got to play Brothers. I think, Mike, there was a sale on Xbox, Xbox was doing a sale, and you picked it up. And
it's funny because I remember hearing about this game and seeing some videos when it first came out, and it was one of those games I'm like, whatever. It didn't draw me in. But then you spoke so highly of it.
Again, I know Mike and I did our previous video of our Game of the Year earlier, and I was asking, I was like, guys, do you have any indie games or smaller non-AAA Call of Duty, Batman big titles that we could play? And Brothers kept coming up, a lot of Game of the Year lists. I'm like, what is this game? So I played it, got my little Xbox controller, one analog stick moves one brother, the other analog stick moves the other brother. And what I told Mike is after I beat it, I was like, I'm not going to spoil anything. There's some really emotional moments in this game. This game is not for the faint of heart. This is a heavy game. I mean, with no dialogue. It's got the Teletubby speak, the boo, 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 all that kind of stuff. And the controller itself, by the end of the game, no spoilers, becomes a character.
Yeah.
Because when you're controlling each brother, it's just it's crazy. How would you describe it? I don't even know how to describe it really.
It's hard, but it's a good point to bring up because there is a moment when it really is just your controller that conveys these emotions.
Right, yeah.
It sounds weird,
you get it once
what
you
are you talking
it.
about?
Yeah,
but when you get to that,
it
it makes perfect sense.
Right.
It was a good game. Maybe I just have a cold heart. Maybe I wasn't as.
You didn't cry like I did? I never cried in a video game. I actually got teary-eyed at some of the scenes in this video game. Mike, how do you not? No, I'm just
But no, I totally see what you mean because it definitely is an emotional game and a game it was a lot heavier than I thought it was going to be.
You see these kids like all this kind of, it's like, what?
But it was really well done. So inventive. Some of the stuff they had was the stuff that I had never seen in a video game before.
Right.
All from just some little small arcade game.
And that's what edged it out for me for Game of the Year. I love BioShock Infinite. We talked about Beyond Two Souls a little bit. That was another game that was on one of my close runner-up. But at the end, Brothers is something I'd never experienced before while playing a game of the mechanics, the platforming. Some of the scariest platforming because you're controlling, there's parts where you're swinging and you're controlling both brothers at the same time. And oh, wait, which guy do I have control? Which is which?
It's going to take you a while to figure out those controllers. Just be patient.
I mean, it's just an incredible game. So I recommend playing Brothers. All these games that Mike and I have mentioned today are great games. Just game of the year, Michael with The Last of Us, myself with Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. These are all games you should check out. There's a lot of good sales. Those of you PC owners or Steam, Xbox and PS3 and PS4 have done a really good job of reducing their prices for sales. So look for all these games that we mentioned today. Of course, this isn't the final list. There's other games to play.
They're still coming.
What are your top games of the year? 2013. What are you looking forward to in 2014 coming up with the new systems, the next gen. You know, let us know what you think. You know, as always, you can come chat with us at thinkhero.com. You also find us on this YouTube page at Think Hero Pro. If you want to come chat with Dennis, Michael, and myself about what games we're playing, we're always playing a new game, always checking something out. Dennis just got a PS3, you know, which he's been playing, so ask him about those. At Think Hero, I'm at Griffin DE.
And I'm at Mr. Michael Alexis.
And also we have a Facebook page. That's facebook.com/ThinkHeroFans. Give us a like, subscribe, spread the word. You know, video game, you know, it's just great year for video games, great time for video games. So, yeah.